It's WMFO right here in Medford, 8:21 in the morning, and I'm Mike. Been here with you since 7 a.m. We'll be here till 9. Got a guest on the phone. I'll tell you about him in just a second. Very excited to talk to this gentleman. And let's see, but first I'll tell you what I played. Started off with brand new noise from the Rolling Stones. Their latest album just came out. I believe was released in full last week. It's called Hackney Diamonds. That was a collaboration with Elton John called Get Close. Justine's Black Threads. Rest in peace, Justine. We miss you. From 2020's Cheap Vacation EP. That was You and Me Against You and Me. I heard her play that so many times when I saw the Black Threads. It's just wonderful to hear her voice. Okay, request for Rona. Thank you so much, Rona, for John Lennon. Of course, from Imagine, that was a remastered version of the title track. Thank you, Rona. Very apropos. Eels had the fourth song of the set from 2009's record called Hombre Lobo. That was The Look You Give That Guy. And finished up with the Anderson Council from 2023's record The Devil, The Tower, The Star, The Moon. That was Alone With You. All right, I'm going to bring my guest on now. His name is Kristian Montgomery, and he is the purveyor and the lead and the founder of his own band, Kristian Montgomery and the Winter Kill Band, who you hear a lot from on the show. They're just awesome. And he started here in Boston, but he wants to tell us all about a loss of his very best friend, Tim Sweeney, a Boston musician as well. And I wanted to give him the opportunity to do that because he was in probably one of the best Boston bands that maybe you never heard of called Bone Dry System. So I want to talk about that. So welcome, Kristian. Thanks so much for calling in. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm as good as can be. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it a lot.
You're very welcome. And, you know, we've been trying to get together for a little while. I know you were here in Boston, and I invited you to come in, and you said, no, I'm not here anymore, so I can't. But the phone is the next best thing.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep. So we've got some time here for you to really tell us about your friend, your best friend, Tim Sweeney. Help us get to know him a little bit.
Well, I say Tim was my best friend. He was a lot of people's best friend. You know, he was just an amazing person. I met him when we were both in high school.
Oh, wow.
He was from Halifax, Massachusetts. And we kind of gravitated towards each other. We kind of came from, similar roots, I guess, as far as class is concerned, you know.
Yeah.
He lived in the woods of Halifax, middle-class family. He was, had a job as soon as he was able to, and he was hell-bent on making his own way no matter what. He just had this amazing work ethic that, and this drive to be his own person. And that carried over into music.
Mm-hmm.
He was quite the individual. We were in a band called Laugh at the Monkey when we were kids, and we had a three-piece horn section, and we started. We really cut our teeth at this club in Brockton called Derringers, and it was an amazing experience for a bunch of teenage kids to be playing sold-out shows.
I bet, and having horns in the band too at that stage. That's pretty cool.
It was amazing. We had our bass player's name is Keith Schleicher, whose brother Mark was one of the members of Quintain Americana, who are one of the probably most popular Boston bands of my time, and Jason DeRoche, and who played drums, and Bruce Churchill was one of our sax players. Donald Jamanad, who he's now a emergency medical doctor in Philadelphia, I believe. But we had this hodgepodge group of kids that, we were selling out shows, and we were just living as kind of these gentlemen savages, stage diving and jumping into mosh pits together. But also, it was just cool. We weren't a college band. We were a tight-knit group of friends from the South Shore.
But you were still pretty young at that point.
Yeah. I mean, we were, 16, 17.
Yeah, that's young.
And playing sold out shows and keeping a level head and finishing high school was huge for us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that band eventually disbanded because high school it turns into college and everybody starts going their separate ways. And Tim had decided to go to Mass Art for film. He's one of the most creative people I'd ever met. When we were kids, he had this old Ford Escort that he painted this Dali-esque type mural on, and then we welded a brush guard onto it and decided that we were just going to run it into the ground in the forests of Halifax. Driving through the small pine forest and laughing as the trees snapped underneath it.
Because why not? That's what you do when you're young.
Because why not?
Right.
We may or may not have gone to some of the richer neighborhoods of Scituate.
No, I'm sure. No.
Hit some trash barrels at restaurants full of tartar sauce and screaming at each other as to whether we should try to get to a car wash or make it back home.
Or pray for rain, maybe.
Yeah, knowing full well that the police would not believe our story, that we don't know how this gigantic bird just made this mess all over our car.
Right, right.
But so Tim decided to go to
Mass Art.
Mass Art. My drummer Jay went to University of Lowell, and then proceeded to join the Navy. My bass player Keith went to UNH, and so we all kind of disbanded. And I had already joined another band called Bone Dry that I'd started, Bone Dry System.
Okay.
And I encouraged Tim to switch from guitar over to bass just because I needed him to be in the band.
Yeah, and he listened to you. He did.
He did, and we, so while he was going to school, his dad got me a job at the New England in Copley Square, driving one of the food trucks around, and we moved to Alston. And we moved to Alston during like that rock city phase where it was just in its prime, and everywhere you went there was music and art, and Tim just thrived in that environment. And we recorded our album Small Cages together. Tim had, in his film background, done a documentary on the whole process of it, which turned out hilarious. It was just awesome.
Is that around? Can that be seen like on YouTube or something?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on the Bone Dry System Facebook page. It's on my Facebook page, my personal one.
Okay, maybe when you have a chance after we finish up, you could go to Facebook and just post it on my thread there, because I would love to see it. I'm sure others would too.
Oh, absolutely. It was great. And then Tim was not just a film artist and music artist. He also painted and he would draw. He did the album cover for Small Cages. And he just really immersed himself into that album.
Very cool. I'm looking at that album cover now. It's interesting. It's weird. It's like 4 panels of distorted face, right?
Yeah. For the 4 guys in the band.
Okay.
And so we ended up getting nominated for the Boston Music Awards, and Tim was my date to the awards, and we had an awesome time. I remember we were walking around, and I had crazy dyed blonde hair, and I looked very similar to the I believe bass player for the band The Heretics, who were one of the performers. And a gentleman from the Boston Globe came over and was like, "Hey man, you guys sounded great tonight." And I immediately knew exactly what was going on.
That's hilarious.
And, he was mistaking me for it, and Tim just cut right in. He goes, "Yeah, tonight was our last show. We're breaking up." And
oh man.
And it went on and on and on, and at the very end he was like, "Listen, I got to be straight with you. We're not in that band."
And what was the guy's reaction? Just curious.
Oh, he was like, God, thank you so much for being honest.
Oh, that's good.
But that was just, Tim had this sense of humor that was like second to none. Like he just had, it wasn't necessarily dark, but it was just taking sarcasm to a whole different level. And everywhere you went, you knew that at some point you were going to belly laugh like crazy, like because he was going to say or do something that was just going to make you laugh your ass off.
Nice.
But after the music awards, he the band lasted maybe another year, and Tim had this relationship with a woman that he met when he was 14 that was like this novel kind of unrivaled romance in modern times. His wife, who became his wife, Mary Beth. They were together when I met him, and I was one of the groomsmen.
Oh, wow.
At his wedding.
So that was a long time. That was a long time romance.
Oh my God, yeah. It was just being around them was almost a spiritual experience to be around that kind of love. Terry, their wedding was beautiful, they had it in Vermont, where we both he built his own house in Brattleboro. He then moved to New Hampshire.
Okay.
The wedding was amazing, beautiful. I got completely drunk. Ended up stealing a horse from one of the stables at the wedding.
Because why not?
Because why not? And I was completely naked at the time.
Okay, all right, awesome.
Yeah. So
the horse might have had a problem with it, but
I had to pay the owner of the plantation off, saying, "Listen, here's $400, which was going to be my present to him and Mary Beth for their wedding. Like, please don't call the police." And he was like, "All right, you go sleep it off."
And the horse was like, I don't know, man. That was embarrassing. I want to press charges," said the horse. It's just these kind of incidents seem to happen when Tim and I would get together. But he forgave me. But they started their family. They have two beautiful kids, Ronan and Finn, and it was one of those situations where he would, we would talk about music all the time. He stopped playing. He was so busy. I know the last movie that he worked on, he worked on the Spider-Man movie in Boston. Then he was able to bring his son to the to some of the filming to kind of see that daily grind, as Tim would often refer to it. He'd be like, "Man, it's just that grind," and it's he loved what he did, but he also was like, "God, I want to wish this on my worst enemy at the same time." Yeah. But they started a family. We ended up staying in touch, and occasionally, he would send me, supportive messages. Like I would send him an article about my new record or a critique, and he'd go, the whole line between genius and madness is it's really subjective to the artist you're talking about, and I would never know how to take it. Yeah.
I'd find myself, thinking more about his comments than I would about the critics.
There you go.
But he got to come out, and I played down in Brattleboro not too long ago, and him and his son Ronan showed up, and we did a south of Boston reunion show maybe 3 or 4 years back that he was able to come and attend, and I've been able to visit him a couple of times prior to he passed this past Monday.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for your loss, Kristian.
I lost my younger brother to cancer and found myself unable to cry. And after losing Tim, it was the floodgates opened. So you can tell that he was a very substantial influence in my life. I mean, his whole family was. His parents were just these wonderful people. He came from such a cool Irish family with those Irish, what would you call it, set of morals that, he, as avant-garde and artistic and kind of crazy at times that he was, he was always that person who was more concerned with doing the right thing, and living a good life and being a good person. So it was you don't necessarily find that, especially with musicians sometimes. He was just always good. Everything about his family was good. His sister Tara, I got to see her at the wake the other day, and her wonderful family, and how just everything about them was good to her husband. And so you'd be hard pressed to find anything negative when it comes to Tim. He did some pretty crazy things. I mean, he made the bass player for Nirvana look like an amateur with some of the on-stage destruction that he would do, and some
really?
Of as far as teenage angst was concerned in Bone Dry System, Tim was second to none. He was just full of energy and full of that creative energy you couldn't keep your eyes off of him.
Yeah. I just want to say, we're going to get to hear a track from Bone Dry System, but before we do, I guess I'm in a seat here to speak for everybody that's listening to you and learning about your friend Tim, maybe for the first time, because as I said before, Bone Dry System being a Boston band, it may be the Boston band, the best one you never heard of. And Chris, for you to be able to have a friendship like that, everything happens for a reason, right? It's as terrible it is that he's not here anymore. He's still here. He'll always be here with you because you had an experience and a friendship that is second to none. You're both very lucky, and you've still got each other's families too.
Well, we are absolutely blessed.
Yeah,
I think that to be able to create music with Tim was an amazing experience, and it was so easy, and the camaraderie was perfect in my opinion. But yeah, Bone Dry System was one of those bands that we got nominated for the music awards.
Isn't that something, man? Yeah.
Yeah, we had toured down the East Coast, we were all kind of poor South Shore kids that somehow managed to grab the attention of a pretty cool cult following. And then as fast as that happened, it was over just as quickly.
Yeah.
And we all moved on. My old drummer Jason Newt started playing with Dennis from the Boss Tones there in a band called Chubby. And my guitar player for Bone Dry System, Charlie Hill, went on to become a chemist, microbiology. He was trying to find cures for all of the plagues of the world. We never knew he was a closet genius. He was always the guy drinking a Budweiser and talking about Dawkins or whatever metal band, and always talking to us about how we needed to get heavier. And then he, released his inner genius, and he's trying to save the world.
Listen. I want to give everybody a chance to hear what a great band we've been talking about, Bone Dry System. And you suggested that I play a track called "Prescription Smile," which blew me away. It's going to blow everybody away. Talk a little bit about that song before we spin that.
It was that song was about my mom's migraines. She'd suffered from severe migraines, like debilitating, and she was on a search for, through every medication you could possibly take to try to get rid of them. And it was about how she was a hairdresser, and she'd go to work regardless of how hurt how much pain she was in, and still smile. And so I wrote Prescription Smile. Tim kind of started, he just laid down the groove with the bass, and it was a song that was written really quick. And
sometimes the best ones. Sometimes the best ones. Yep.
It was produced by Dave Leach, who ended up becoming the bass player for Bone Dry System when we reunited back in the early 2000s to do a couple more albums.
So, so this is from the aforementioned album called Small Cages. What year did that come out?
It was 1995.
Okay. So let's transport everybody back to 1995 for Prescription Smile, and then I'm going to follow it up with a track of yours, bringing us up into the present here. Sorry, it's earlier. The tenses are confusing to me. From your latest album, we're going to play from your latest album called Lower County Outlaw. We're going to play The Girl with the Gauges in Her Ears. Let me spin those two songs. If you could be so kind, I'd just hang on the phone. We'll come back and talk a little bit afterwards, and then just say goodbye. Let me do this. Prescription Smile, everybody, by Bone Dry System, right here at WMFO.
teacher. Now I'ma stay, now I'ma go. I wanna be your teacher, but can you take it all? I wanna live like a lion, but do you kiss and tell? Throw a coin in the water, I'm your wishing well. Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears? She got high and then she disappeared. Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears? She got high and then she disappeared. Another passionate spirit. Now I'ma stay, now I'ma go. I wanna be a winner, and we can bring it home. I wanna live like a lion, but do you kiss and tell? You're the fuel for my fire. It's getting warm in here. Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears? She got high and then she disappeared. Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears? She got high and then she disappeared. Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears? Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears? Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears? Where's the girl with the gauges in her ears?
All right, it's WMFO in Medford. I'm Mike. It's 8:50 in the morning, and just heard from Bone Dry System first with Prescription Smile from Small Cages back in 1995. Kristian and Tim were both in that band, Tim playing bass. And then we brought it forward here to Kristian's band, Kristian Montgomery, and the Winter Kill Band from the latest album that you guys put out called Lower County Outlaw. That was a kicker right there, the girl with the gauges in her ears. Thanks for requesting that one, Kristian.
Oh, no problem. That one's a shout out to an artist up here named Brianna Elaine. She asked me to open her CD release party, and she had these cool gauges, and it kind of inspired the song.
Very, very cool. There's always a story about a song. Always. So listen, I know this wasn't easy for you, but hopefully it was cathartic, to talk about your friend like that. I'm grateful to hear your perspective on such a wonderful guy. I wish that I knew about, when you guys did your reunion, to be able to come over and celebrate that with you, but I feel like I know him a little bit better, so thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me talk about him, and he's one of those people that deserves to be remembered.
Absolutely. Okay, everybody, Kristian Montgomery calling all the way from Vermont. Now, Kristian, so when you're back in Boston, whenever that is, you've got to come in here and visit us.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, make sure you do that, because I'll be looking for you.
All right, man.
All right, thank you. We'll talk again soon. Kristian Montgomery, everybody, thanks again for calling.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Okay, so I've got about 9 minutes left. That was just wonderful. So nice to hear about Tim Sweeney. And the music was just great, as you could hear. That's why I try to play Kristian's band as much as I can. It's just a great artist. There's so many great artists. Speaking of, I want to play some new noise from a local artist that's just great. I debuted it a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was even last week. This is Chris Ballerini and The Drift. New single called Just So. I'll play this. If I have time for another one, I'll do that too. But then 1,000 Points of Light with Jay is coming in too. So we're against the clock. So here's Chris Ballerini and The Drift, and a great song. It's new noise. It's Just So at WMFO.
Since I was young, they taught me to toe the line. That's a song I never wanted to sing. I sit at the table, my coffee is getting cold. It's too windy for a day on the boat.